Africa.
South Africa.
They are going to be in the news. Their president is going to be in the news for some good reason. Economics, issues of school, this and that. Their president. But some are going to try fighting him, you know, opposition always there. Because I saw some people in the vision. I look at their eyes like they were people who were disabled, people who were hurt by bombings or by what? The president, there was good news going on about him. A global news which was headlining the news of the world. What this man did brought peace to the whole of Africa. He had done a lot of according to the news. But some people are complaining from that country.
Well, South Africa's president says Vladimir Putin will not be attending a summit in Johannesburg next month. Russia's president was invited to join other leaders from the BRICS cross-border trade group. So Ramaphosa says that Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be representing Russia there instead. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Russia's president for suspected war crimes in Ukraine. Now, as a signatory to the ICC, South Africa would have a duty to arrest Putin if he arrived there. Well, let's cross to Famida Miller. She's in eMarhakhleni in South Africa. Famida, this must be a bit of a relief for Ramaphosa.
Well, it certainly is for a president who was in a very difficult position, given, as you mentioned, that South Africa is a signatory to the Rome Statute and so then would be bound to arrest the Russian president if he had come to South Africa. That's, I suppose, the legal side of the dilemma. But many in South Africa would argue that the South African president, South African government and the governing party in South Africa, the ANC, had no intention at any time to arrest Vladimir Putin. South Africa has a good relationship with Russia. We also see deepening ties through organizations like BRICS, and that summit coming up in about a month's time. So that really was the dilemma for South Africa, this very good relationship with Russia, but being a signatory to the Rome Statute. And this is why in recent weeks we've heard more calls from some South African parties, the ANC specifically, saying that South Africa should pull out of international treaties and organizations that don't serve South African interests. South Africa is a sovereign country and shouldn't be dictated to. But given this formal decision, which wasn't the invitation being rescinded, it was an agreement, a mutual agreement, the South African government says, this certainly does make the way forward a bit easier.
Famida, let me ask you about the timing, because I see that Ramaphosa filed what was originally a confidential court affidavit saying that he believes that arresting Putin would only escalate hostilities in Ukraine. That's also been very controversial when you look at how politically divisive this has already been.
Well, given the African National Congress's position on its relationship with Russia, with Vladimir Putin, and by extensions, the South African government, they've been very certain about what they've wanted to do. But of course, they've been challenged by an opposition party like the Democratic Alliance, who has taken the government to court saying that it should be forced to arrest Putin should he come to South Africa. We now know that's not happening. And because of that, the South African president had to provide a responding affidavit to the courts in South Africa explaining why the government had that position, why they would not arrest Putin. He was also forced to make this affidavit public. And in it, Ramaphosa had said that an arrest of Putin would be unlawful and it would be tantamount to declaring war on Russia. Now, the Russians have also responded, the presidential spokesperson saying Russia has at no point threatened South Africa. But of course, an arrest of Putin would be a threat, would be an attack on the president. So again, this comes back to this mutual agreement between the two countries, trying to navigate a way forward, given these deepening ties. South African government has, of course, had some opposition to this decision that it's made, or the statements it's made in recent weeks around its what's supposed to be a protection of Putin. And so it's likely now that that court challenge will fall away because Putin is no longer traveling to South Africa.
And Famida, just in the last few minutes, I see the Kremlin says that Putin will be participating in that summit, but only via video call. Very interesting developments. Famida Miller across all of that for us in South Africa. Thank you.
Now at 11, stunning new video shows the moment an apparent underground gas explosion sent shockwaves through Johannesburg, South Africa. The blast ripping open roads and flipping more than 20 vehicles yesterday. One person killed, dozens of others injured. An area of 5 city blocks was damaged. Huge cracks and holes filled the roads, some big enough to partially swallow some cars.
At least 5 taxis overturned while motorists were trapped in their cars, following an explosion in the Joburg CBD on Wednesday, July 19, 2023. The explosion, which caused a crack in the road near Bree Street taxi ranking, is believed to have occurred around 5 p.m., when most people were getting ready to go home. According to a car guard who works near the taxi stand, the loud explosion came from underground near the corner of Bree and Rissick Streets. Suddenly I saw a taxi overturned by the force of the explosion. Several motorists were trapped in their car and we had to help them out, said the guard. Another taxi was seen lying on its side on Joubert Street, while another car stood on the side of the road unable to move. Netcare 24 spokesman Russell Myring confirmed the incident, saying paramedics and other emergency services were on site assessing the damage and possible injuries to people. The EMS Johannesburg spokesman, Robert Malodzi, said teams rushed to the scene to find out what caused the incident. In one of the videos on social media, shocked crowds can be seen using their mobile phones to capture the aftermath of the explosion. Malodzi said the EMS would provide more information once the situation was assessed. Right now we are asking the public to stay away from the area, so that emergency services can be present at the scene. We will update as soon as more information becomes available, said the communique. Pictures from the scene show how badly the road was damaged, with the asphalt torn up. The place still reeked of gas, with police searching the area for injured people. Bree Street was closed to traffic, with taxis being directed to a different street. The IOL photojournalist Timothy Bernard, who was at the scene, said he saw a 10-meter wide ditch. Many taxis were affected by the blast, he said, but it was not immediately clear how many people were injured in the incident. According to private security company Vision Tactical, 16 people have been taken to medical facilities for treatment after the explosion. The 1-kilometer evacuation zone has started, as emergency services evacuate people due to risk of gas. The explosion has caused serious damage to the infrastructure and property of the city near the incident site. In times like these, it is very important for us as a community to come together and support one another. We urge citizens to stay alert, report any suspicious activity or object to the authorities, and follow their instructions diligently. Only through collective efforts can we maintain a safe environment for all, said the EFF in a statement. The party called on law enforcement agencies to carry out a thorough investigation into the cause of the explosion and bring those responsible to justice. The safety and well-being of our community is of the utmost importance to us. We extend our sympathies to anyone who may be affected by this incident and reassure them that we are monitoring the situation closely.
South Africa,
South Africa,
I saw some people
in
the vision. I look at their eyes like they were people who were disabled, people who were hurt by bombings or by what?